Yeah. And hi friend. So you and yes, and have you ever wondered that? Yeah. Hey friend, you know this and have have you ever? Hey friend, you know what? Have you ever? Have you ever? And have you ever wondered that? Wonder. Have you ever wondered? Wonder. Hey, friend, you know, have you ever wondered that? When what that and what he does, what she does, what an HR director can actually does. That what he, what she, what wondered what an HR director does and actually does. What an HR director does and actually does. And actually does. Hey, friend, you know, have you ever wondered what he, she does that actually does? An HR director actually does. Yeah. And I thought, and I used to think that HR directors are mainly dealt with hiring, attendance, and payroll. I used to think that. I think, but I used to. I thought. I used to think. I used to think that HR directors, think that HR directors. I used to think that HR director that and dealt with mainly dealt with hiring, attendance, and payroll. Attendance and payroll. I thought I used to think the HR director dealt with hiring, attendance, and payroll. Me too. Same here. Yeah. Me too. Same here. But when I started working, I realized that the job is bigger and bigger, is way bigger than that. But once that I started working, I started working. I realized that. I'm working. Then I started working. But once that I started working. I realized that. I realize, yeah, and I realize that this job that is way bigger than that. That the job. That the job. This job. This job that this. This job is bigger. Is way bigger. Is way bigger and bigger than that. And bigger than that. Bigger than that. Especially when I started working, I realized that the job is bigger and bigger, is way bigger than that. So, and you think, what do you think their responsibility is? What do you think that their main responsibility is? So, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think that their main responsibility is? What do you think that their main responsibility is? Responsibility is. Okay. Hey friend, you know that what do you think that their responsibility is? Honestly, you know, I think that they manage people. Honestly. You know that I think they manage people. And they manage people. So I think that they manage people, not just paperwork and our procedures, not just the paperwork, not just paperwork, not just paperwork or procedures, not just paperwork or procedures. Procedures. Honestly, to be honest, I think they manage people, not just the paperwork or procedures. So you don't managing people, that sounds harder and harder than the managing numbers. It definitely sounds harder, and managing people. That manage and managing people sounds harder than, definitely sounds harder than. It definitely yeah. And definitely sounds harder than, and sounds harder and harder. Sounds harder than, sounds harder than manage and managing numbers. Managing numbers and manage and managing numbers. So manage and managing people sounds harder than, definitely sounds harder than managing numbers. Yes it is. Yes it is. Yes it is. And you know why? Because I and you and we, the people, have emotions and motivation and the personal problems. Because we have, and they have, I don't know, people have emotions. People have emotions, and motivation, and personal problems, personal problems, and personal problems, personal and personal problems. Because I know, the people have, and we have the emotions, motivation, and personal problems. You can treat them like the spreadsheets. I know you can treat them like spreadsheets. I'm sure that, and you can treat them like, treat them like lot of spreadsheets. You can treat them like spreadsheets, and a spreadsheets. Yeah, because you can treat them like spreadsheets. So an HR that has to work with many signs, with different signs, right? So an HR, an HR that has to work with many signs, different signs, right? HR has to work with the different signs, right? And different signs, the different signs, right? So an HR, and he and she has to work with the different sides, right? Different side. Exactly. Exactly right. And one side is that, and on one side, there's it. And there's a management, top management, and on one side, there's a top management. There's a top management, and there's a top and a management. And on one side there's the top management, and on the other and they are employees. They are employees. On the other, they are employees, and they are employees on one side, and on the other there's a top management, and on the other they are employees. So I'm stuck in the middle. So they're stuck in the middle, basically stuck in the middle. So and they're stuck basically stuck in the middle, right? Basically stuck. Yes, and there's the basically stuck in the middle, right? In the middle. In the middle, right? So, and basically, they are stuck in the middle. Okay, like pretty much like that. Pretty and pretty much. Pretty and pretty much are that they have to protect interest, and the company's interest they have to protect. And now you know, because they have to protect. They have to protect the interest, but the company's interest. The company's interest. The company. They have to protect the interest, and the company's interest. Interest. The company's interest. And besides that, they have to listen to employees, but also, besides that, they have to listen to employees and listen to employees. They have to protect. They have to listen. They have to listen to the employees. Make sure that people are treated fairly. Then they make sure that the people are treated fairly, and make sure that people are treated, and the people are treated. People are treated fairly. Make sure people are treated fairly. Okay, that sounds stress and stressful, and that sounds stressful. That sounds stressful. That sounds stressful. Yeah, it is. And it really is. Yes, it is. It really is. It really is. Yes, it is. You know what? And if they signed too much with the company, and employees lose trust. And if they signed too much with, they signed too much with, and if they signed too much with the company, too much with the company. If they decide too much with the company and employees lose trust. Employees that lose trust, and lose that, and lose trust. And if they side too much with the company, employees lose trust. And if they side too much with employees, and if they side too much with employees, they side too much with employees. That so at the business can suffer. The business that can suffer. So, and if they side too much with the company, employees lose trust. And if they side too much with employees, the business can suffer. And hiring besides hiring besides hiring. Besides hiring, what else? What do you do? What do they do? What else do they do? What do you do? What do you do? What else do you do? What do you do? What else? What else do they do? What do you do? Besides hiring, what do you do? What else do you do? A lot. Culture, company culture, they shape the company culture. They shape company culture. They shape culture, company culture. They shape the company culture. They shape a company culture. They shape a company culture that benefits employee benefits. Design employee benefits. Design benefits employee benefits. That employee benefits. Employee benefits. What do they do? What else? What else do we do? A lot. They shape company culture, design, employee benefits, and a plan and training and development, and a plan, training, and development. Plan, training, and development. Plan, training, and development. Develop and development. So, shape company culture, design employee benefits, plan training and development. But the company culture is that, and is it a part of HR too? Company culture is part of HR too. And the company culture. So, company culture that is part of HR too. Is part of HR too. Sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Sure, for sure, indefinitely. Indefinitely. Yeah, definitely. Indefinitely. It helps a lot. Helps the vibe, the tone, set the vibe. So the tone for and how you work together, how we work together, and how the people work together. HR helps a lot. HR that helps that set the vibe, set the tone. That set the tone, the vibe, the tone for how people work together, and how people work together, how people work, how people work together, how people work together, he and she, HR, helps set the vibe, the tone for people, how people work together, communicate, and handle conflict. Communicate, and handle conflict, and handle conflict, yeah. Communicate and handle conflict. I know that, I see that, I feel like if the culture is toxic, that and you won't stay, I won't stay, and the people won't stay. I feel like that. I feel like if the culture is a toxic, if the culture is, if that the culture, and if the culture is toxic, is it toxic, is toxic. If I feel like I know, I realize that if the culture is toxic, that the people won't stay. People won't stay. That people won't stay. One that won't stay. Won't stay. No matter how good, the salary is. No matter how good the salary is. No matter. No matter. Wow, good salary. How good the salary is. No matter that how good the salary is. How good the salary is. I feel like that the toxics, that they won't stay no matter how good the salary is. Exactly. Right. Exactly, you are. And retaining people, especially the good people, is hard. It's harder than that hiring them. And in the first place, sometimes harder and harder than hire and hiring them in the first place. Retaining good people. that returning. Return that returning good, especially the good people. Good people. Good people. Hard is hard. Is sometimes harder than. Is that is hard is sometimes, and is sometimes harder than. Harder than. Hire and hiring them in the first place. Hiring them in the first place. Then hiring them in the first place. In the first place. In the first place. In the first. In the first place. First place. You know, retaining good people is that is hard and harder than hiring them in the first place sometimes. So, and that, and yet, and they deal with the conflicts inside the company. They deal with conflicts inside the company. Do they deal with? And do HR directors. Do HR and directors. And do they directors that deal with conflicts inside the company? That conflicts inside the company. Inside the company. Do they do that? They deal with conflicts inside the company all the time. All the time. All the time. Tension. If there's tension between departments, and problems and or issues that between the managers and the staff. If there's tension, if there's a tension between, and there's a tension between, if there's tension between departments, between departments, between departments, between departments, between departments. If there's a tension between departments and or problems and issues between managers or staff, or that issues between managers and staff, between managers and staff. That HR often that steps into the mediate step into the mediate. HR often When it steps into and steps in to mediate, steps in to mediate, that steps in to the mediate. That must be training. That must be training. That must be. That must be that training. Yeah, that must be training. Yeah, it can be. It can be. Yeah. It can be. Yeah, it can be. Because they have to hear. They have to hear the different sides of the story. They have to hear the different sides of the story. Because they have to. They have to hear sides, different sides of the story. There are different sides. There are different sides. There's a different sides of the story. Of the story, because they have to hear the different sides of the story and stay neutral. And stay neutral. And stay neutral. When, especially even when that emotions are high, very, very high, even when, especially when that emotions, even if emotions are high, that even when the emotions are high, and that good, very, very good HR director, that I think that then he and she needs to understand people clearly. That HR director, good, very, very good. A good HR director that needs to understand people. Really needs to understand people. That really needs to understand people. Understand people. I think good, very, very good HR director that really needs to understand people, and they need patience, a lot of patience too, and I know they need patience, a lot of patience. They need patience, a lot of patience. They need a lot of patience. a lot of patience. Mm, can you imagine that? You think that not everyone can spend all day is planning, listening, and negotiating. Not everyone can do that. Can spend all day. Not everyone. So not everyone that can spend all day can spend can spend all day. Can spend all day. Can spend all day. Not everyone can spend all day. It's planning. Explaining, listening. Is planning, listening, and negotiating. Explaining, listening, negotiating, and calm you down, calm people down, calm down, and that calm down, calming people down. Calm down, calming people down. Calm down, calming people down. Calming people down. Involved, and are they involved in the comedy strategy too? Are they involved in? And are they involved? And are they involved in comedy strategy too? In comedy strategy too. That a comedy strategy? Company strategy. That comedy strategy too? Are they? And are they involved in the comedy strategy too? For sure. For sure. Because you know that people are part of strategy. You know the people are part of strategy. Because of the people are part of. There are people are part of strategy. That is strategy. That about strategy. Because the people are part of and strategy. And that the best business plan fails. I'm sure it fails. It fails without the right people, right team to do it, to execute it, to execute it. Even the plan, the good plan, the best plan, the best business plan. That the best plan, the best business plan, the best business plan. Plan that fails. And it fails without the right team, right people to do it, execute it. Without without the right team. Without the right team to execute it, to that execute it. To execute it. And you know that even the best business plan fails without the right team to do it, to execute it. They're not just dealing with today's problems and today's issues. Today's issues that they're planning ahead. They're planning ahead. They are not just dealing with. So, they're not just. And they're not just. They're not just dealing with. And dealing with. So they're not just dealing with today's issues. Today's issues. Dealing with today's issues. And today's issues. They're not just dealing with today's issues. They're planning ahead. And they're the plan. They're planning ahead. They're planning ahead. They're planning ahead. You're right. Exactly. You're right. Exactly. So they think about. They're thinking about that. That what skills and talent that the company will need in next 5 years, 4 years, next few years. And they are thinking about that. They are thinking about. And they are thinking about that. They are thinking about. Yes, and they are thinking about it. Thinking about what? And what skills and talent? What skills and talent? What? What skills? Skills and talent. And they're thinking about what skills and talent that the company will need in the next 5 years. That the company will need. The company will need. In the next few years, 5 years. In the next few years. In the next few years. So they are thinking about that, what skills and talent the company will need in the next 5 years, few years, and how to prepare early. And how to prepare early. How to do that? Can you show me how to do that? How to prepare early. Yeah, how to prepare early. And so, and then now I know that I understand. I get that. And why this road isn't just administrative, like I used to think, I used to believe. Now I know. And now I know why. I get why. I get that. Why? Why this role? Why this role? This role. Now I know that. I understand that. I get why this role isn't just administrative, administrative like I used to think. Isn't just. Isn't just administrative. Administrative. Administrative, like I used to think. Like I used to. Like that I used to. I used to think, I used to believe. Used to believe. Right, that's right. That's right. Because it takes a leadership, empathy, and a strong sense of responsibility. It takes. It takes a leadership. Leadership, empathy. It takes leadership, empathy, and sense of responsibility. A strong sense of responsibility, and that is strong. So strong. Sense of responsibility. A strong sense of responsibility. Responsibility. And it takes leadership, empathy, and strong sense of responsibility. And in the end, I think, and I'd say that I think it's the HR directors, and I think I say that I said HR directors. I say that HR directors that have the company run through people. Have the company run through people. Help the company. Have the company run. Have the company run through people. And in the end, I think that when I say the HR directors that have the company run through people, not just policies, not just, and not just in the policies, not just policies, and when they do it well, they build an environment with a workplace. When they do it well, And when they do it well, they build a workplace environment, and they build a workplace environment, workplace that you want to stay in. You want to stay in long term. That the people actually want to stay in long term. That people they want to actually want to actually that want to stay in want to stay in long term. Stay that in long term. Okay, long term. So thì yeah. That chúng ta sẽ lướt lại cái này nhăn một xíu nhưng mà cũng hơi khuya quá rồi, chúng ta sẽ lướt lại nhăn một xíu. Hey friend, you know that have you ever wondered that? Have you ever wondered that and what he does, what she does, that what an HR director actually does. Yeah, what an HR director actually does. Director actually does. Yeah, I think, but I used to think that HR director that dealt with mainly, and mainly dealt with hiring, attendance, and payroll. Me too. Same here. But especially once that I started working, I realized, there's this job, and the job is bigger and bigger. It's way bigger than that. Bigger than that. So what their responsibility is, what their main responsibility is. What do you think their main responsibility is? Honestly, to be honest, I think that they manage people, not just the paperwork and not just the procedures, or procedures. Managing people sounds harder and harder than managing numbers. Definitely harder. Managing people definitely sounds harder than managing numbers. Yeah, yes it is. Absolutely you are. Yes it is. You know why? Because the people have emotions. You have emotion. Everyone has emotion, motivation, and personal problems. So that, and you can treat them like spreadsheets. You cannot treat them like spreadsheets. And that HR has to work with different sides. Right? Exactly. And on one side, on the other. On one side, there's a boss, a manager, management, there's a top management, and on the other, they are employees. So I think that they are stuck in the middle, right? They're basically stuck in the middle. Yeah, pretty much. So, and they have to protect the company's interest. They have to protect the company's interests, but also listen to employees, They make sure people are treated fairly. Wow, that sounds stressful. Yeah, it is. It really is. If can you imagine that if they decide too much with the company, employees lose trust. If they sign too much with the company, employees lose trust, and if they sign too much with employees, that the company can suffer. Yeah, the business can suffer. Besides hiring, what do we do? What else do they do? A lot. They shape culture. They shape company culture, designs. I'm sorry, design that design benefits, employee benefits, design employee benefits, and plan training and development. Plan training and development of company culture is what? Is part of HR too? Definitely yes. And HR helps a lot, helps set the vibe set the tone for how you work. We work together. How do people work together? Communicate, handle conflict. I feel like that. I feel that if the culture is toxic, and the people want to stay, and you want to stay, people want to stay. No matter how good the salary is, no matter how good the salary is, exactly. And retaining people, especially that retaining good people is harder than hiring them in the first place. Is sometimes harder than hiring them in the first place. So, and do they deal with conflicts inside the company? And do HR directors deal with conflicts inside the company all the time? If there's tension between departments, and our problems and our issues between managers and staff, so and that they often step in. And HR often steps in to mediate. HR often steps in to mediate. I think that must be training. Yeah, it can be that besides that, they have to hear the different signs of the story. They have to hear the different signs of the story. Stay neutral. Especially when emotions are high. I think that good HR director, very good HR director that needs to understand people clearly, really needs to understand people. So, and they need patience too, a lot of patience, because I think not everyone can do that, can spend all day explaining, listening, negotiating. Not everyone can spend all day explaining, listening, negotiating, or calming people down. Calming people down. Yes, and just one more thing. That are they involved in company strategy too? Are they involved in company strategy too? Sure, for sure. Yeah, the people, as you know, the people are part of strategy. People are part of strategy. That even the best plan, even the best business plan fails. Even the best business plan fails without the right people, right team to do it, to execute it. to do it, to execute it, So, and now they're not dealing with today's problems, today's issues, and they are planning ahead. Exactly, you are. Exactly, I know. And they are thinking about. They are thinking about what skills and talent the company will need. Really need in the next 2, 4, 5 years, the next few years. How to prepare early. And now, I understand, I get it why this role isn't just that administrative, isn't just administrative like I used to believe, I used to think. So I realize that I understand why this role isn't just administrative like I used to think, believe, right? I think it takes leadership, empathy, and sense of responsibility, so strong responsibility, sense of responsibility. And in the end, I think, and I'd say that HR directors help the company run through people, help the company run through people, not just policies. And when they do it well, really, really well, they build an environment, a workplace that the people want to stay in a long term. Okay, so thì hôm nay cũng khuya quá rồi, mà chúng ta sẽ tạm dừng ở đây nhé mà. Và nếu mà khi nào á, mà nhóm có cần dự tiếng Anh á, thì nhóm cũng có thể nhắn anh cũng được rồi nhóm mà. Nhóm cần về phát âm, thuyết trình, giao tiếp. Các bạn đi du học á, các bạn làm ở công ty nước ngoài, everything everywhere, thì nhóm cũng có thể nhắn anh cũng được rồi nhóm mà. Thank you. Nhóm cần cải thiện kỹ năng. Ok, nhóm nghỉ ngơi nha. Thank you, cảm ơn ạ. Cảm ơn, thank you. Bye bye nha. Bye bye nhóm. Thank you. Cảm ơn nhóm. Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye nhóm. Dạ. Bye bye nhóm.